everybody, it's Christina from Creations with Christina, and our next series is number 7, and we're going to be working on creating welding words and also creating shadows for those welded words, as well as working a little bit on some of the layerings, the layer tabs that are up on the top of the screen. So I'm just going to go ahead and select our Cricut icon and load our application. So this is going to take me right to my Cricut mat, or my selections for the mat, and we're going to start a new file, a 12 by 12 mat, and I'm going to go ahead and select. And that's not what I want to do. Let's go back to the mat here. I'm going to actually change my inches first. So I'm going to set this at 2 inches, makes it a little bigger so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go over to my mat, and I'm going to select the plant. I'm using the Plantain School Book, and I'm going to start out by writing out my son's name. So we're going to do capital E, T-H-A-N. Okay, and to zoom in, it's the top silver button, and you tap the screen. Okay, so now that we have that in the center of the screen, what we're going to do is to move letters that are grouped together, and I wanted to keep them. It's easier to weld words together when you put them on your mat at the same time. So we're just going to double tap the T till it turns purple, and now it's the only letter selected. Even though it's grouped together, you can just select the one letter, and we're just going to hit the over arrow until the T is overlapping the E, and you're going to go ahead and do that with all your letters. So you double tap to turn and get it to select one letter at a time, and use your over arrows till it's overlapping. Okay, so now that I have that done and everything's selected, I'm going to group together. I'm going to go ahead and head over to the Advanced tab, select my weld key, and when I click off of the letters, you can see that everything is grayed out. So let me just zoom in a little bit just so I could see it better. And, or not grayed out, I'm sorry, it's red. And then to see that it's welded together properly, I'm just going to go ahead and click the I, which is your preview icon. And you can see that these sections that are gray are the sections that are welded together. So it looks like everything is welded together nicely. So I'm just going to hit my top silver button to get back to my regular view. And now the next thing I'm going to do is create a shadow for this. So I'm going to go right up to the top left-hand corner. There's a little purple, and it's hard to see, but it's a purple plus sign. I'm going to go ahead and click that to add another layer or page to my Cricut mat. So now I'm on page 2, and if you hold that down, you can rename this, and I'm going to rename this the shadow. So I'm just going to hit clear, and I'm going to rename this shadow, because my layer 2 is going to be my shadow. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, if you zoom in a little bit, you can see that where my original Ethan from layer 1 is grayed out, which means I can't edit or do anything with that because it's on a different layer. I'm on my shadow, which is the blue tab. So I'm going to go ahead and head over to my Plantain School Book cartridge again, and I'm going to select shadow, and I'm going to spell out Ethan's name one more time, so capital E, T-H-A-N, and hit the mat, and that's going to add it to the mat. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and overlap my E onto my layer 1, and this is how I create my shadowing, so I know that all my letters are going to line up properly. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead now and start moving all of my other letters. Okay? And it might be hard to see, and let me see if I zoom in one more time if it's a little easier for you to see. So double tap to select one, and go ahead and move it over until it's center on the letter. Okay, there we go. So now I went ahead and created my shadow. Alright, and it's already grouped together, and I do have to weld this as well, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit the weld key. And now all the letters for my shadow are now shadowed or are marked in red, And I'm going to go ahead and I want to turn off layer 1. So I'm just going to turn, there's a little eye next to the where it says layer 1. I'm just going to turn that off by clicking on it. And that takes my layer 1 off the screen so I can no longer see it and I don't get confused. I'm going to click my eye here, and then I can preview that all of my shadow letters are now overlapping. So when I go to cut this out, I'm going to cut it out on this page, maybe in one color, and then on layer 1, and I'll turn off layer 1, or layer 2, the shadow, I turn that off by clicking the little eye that's there, and now I can only see layer 1, and I'll cut this out probably in a different color. So just let's see, what else can I show you on the layering. If you have created a layer and you wanted to delete it, you just actually hold your stylus down on the layer and it's going to give you an option to rename or delete. So let me just show you on layer 1. I'm gonna rename this one, and I'll call this one, I'm just going to hit the clear button, and I'll call this one Ethan because that's the regular cut. I hit OK. And I'm going to turn layer 1 back on. Okay, so now we have both layers shown, and I'll zoom in so you can see that a little bit better. Okay, so that was a little bit on welding and shadowing and working with your layers. Thanks for watching another episode of Creations with Christina. I'll see you next time. Bye!